Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations, on the Ouija 64D. In the last episode, we found out who the real culprit is, so now we can probably try to find a way to pin it on him. We do have the necessary tools, but now we just gotta bring him out. Which is hard, because we haven't been given a chance to even talk to Tigray. He's been pushing us away this entire time. If we need to, I have one more day to go do it, but I have a feeling that I'll be in serious trouble if I don't get him today. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well, and that ended on a giant mystery. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. You okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that! A little flash of doubt in your eyes. No! That wasn't doubt. That was, determination! I don't believe you. It's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal! Hey, Detective Gumshoe. What's stressing Maggie out? She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Are you taking up aromatherapy too? No, not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Huh, what to think of it? Doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Trebion's kitchen a couple of days ago. Yeah. Wow! Look at his little bottles! Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many, they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Well, what do you know? It doesn't even have a label either. And it doesn't smell. We finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So? What was it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elk was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elk's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Well, at least he have it back. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone messed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten down the prints, but... it's gonna weaken its impact of the piece of evidence. Okay, pal. This is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today. Got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done. My name isn't Phoenix Wright. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and waiting as always. Yeah. Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday, we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder in the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony is plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio in his earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, made him ineffectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn. You lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you resolved these contradictions? You know the answer? You know the answers to these riddles? The old guy wasn't just throwing seeds in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well. Let the first witness take the stand. Oh gosh. And you are?
Oh, bonjour everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner of the head chef of the Cherbion restaurant. Enchanté.
Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman?
Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I'm the perfectly gentleman.
On the day of the instance, you were in Trebion's kitchen. Isn't that right?
Monsieur, monsieur. Everything feels right.
Huh. Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened the day at Trebion. Yeah, why do I keep saying it like that? I know Gumshoe did because accent. Why is it Trebion? It's Trebian.
Well, volunteers. At Cherbion. When it all happened, there was these two customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with these new articles that day. Like having a large mirror between tables, for example. Oh yeah, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no?
Huh. Mirror?
Oui, un grand mirror. Like that's the enormous mirror.
Mirror? And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Like I said, world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. This is the first testimony. I gotta break it, quick.
When it all happened, there was just two customers in the restaurant.
Huh? And who were the two customers exactly?
Nah, of course. The young man who died. And the other not-so-young man.
You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume? What about the other man Maggie says is at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong is planning to disclose his existence. We need some hard evidence first so we can bring him up, don't we? I guess we'll just have to try a different approach for the time being.
I remember I was experimenting with this new article that day.
You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I've never heard of that before today?
You are not familiar with the language of interior design, Monsieur.
Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before?
But I did, just a few moments ago.
Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decoction? No, Art Deco. It's like style design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Ah, yes, of course. That deco.
I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of the decor. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example.
Mirrors. How big of a mirror are we talking about here?
Oh, something about 4 meters wide and about 2 meters high.
Let's see. From 1 meter high is 1 yard. Oh, the glass of the frame, that's huge!
I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually.
The ceiling? Is there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. It wasn't exactly in frame.
No, but I decided not to go with this in the end.
What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? It might leave some information, so... If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about it in the mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie's Bird's testimony.
But...
You didn't ask, Wright. You have only yourself to blame for such sloppy work.
What?
A mirror was delivered to Trebion the day before the incident.
Really?
As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end.
That just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Trebion, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant the day of the crime.
If you want to doubt someone, Wright, look at the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So, just yesterday I'd seen the victim reflected in the mirror.
Well, perhaps that is what the old man was looking for.
Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object.
Objection!
Normally, how does normality come into this? That's lame, Wright, even for you.
Huh?
Are you trying to say that if something is normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool man with the mask over here? Well, Wright?
Ugh! Not the hair! And I do not have a top knot!
Mr. Godot is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument.
Bien, logic would win the day!
Hmm?
A couple of earpieces and glasses. They would have seen every single verse, no?
Everything. He would have seen everything in the verse?
Oi! Hey, Nick. We should take a second to think about what old CD said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again?
The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as his green lines of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. With his left ear, without a doubt. And when he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand.
If he saw everything he described reflected in a mirror, then everything he said and saw on the left is actually on the right, huh?
And that clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess.
What doesn't?
Huh. It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but...
You think old CD saw everything through a reflection?
If he did, it would explain all the contradictions of his testimony.
But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. We just gotta dig deeper.
So everything would be reversed. Let's go look at that testimony again. Okay, not that one. That's the one where he broke the vase. Okay. This is with his... So this one would make sense, because this is with his right. And his specs... Let's see. His specs were over his left eye. His specs are over his left eye. No matter what happens... No, literally no matter what happens. Okay, if you try to reflect it, then everything would be on the right. Okay, wait a minute. So that would mean... There's a contradiction here. I just don't know how to prove it. Because, like... His... not that one. No, where is it? Okay, this points that his right hand was used to drink the coffee. But then... His left eardrum was ruptured, despite having it in there. But he wore an HMD over his left eye. The cup, earpiece, and the glasses. Everything would have been reversed, which means if you saw it on the left, then it would have been the same, but it's not. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a sec, shall we? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lines of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. So to summarize, we are told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side.
Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactamente, you see, Monzo. Now that you think about it, it is not so odd, no? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that HMD is now on the wrong side of his head?
Order! Order! Mr. Wright is correct! If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been in his right eye.
Objection!
How bitter. Wright, you should have a taste of this business. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume? I broke the vase. Sorry, apology. Oh, I mean, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man was one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg? Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD was a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece in those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear! Well, tried. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Ah, I really thought he was a little seedy for a minute there. Kudo's got it. Kudo's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can a lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at the plans of the restaurant. That's the mirror. Alors, is everyone sitting comfortably? The mirror is in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is the seat which you cannot see in the mirror of the victim. There is a seat on the table next to the victims. That was the old man was sitting. There is a terrible accident occurred. I moved the mirror so it will not be in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I see no problem with the explanation we just heard. On the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudos could have seen the victim in the mirror. But I'm not able to correct I am confusing all things like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in the cold sweat over there again. I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. The mirror was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. So, run this by me again. The mirror was right here, correct? Oui. We? Really? Because if I were you, I wouldn't put a mirror there. It'd be in the way.
Objection!
Look who's talking, Wright. Huh? You're obstructing my view, among other things. But, this is my seat in the courtroom. Très bien's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Wright. I tell you, Monsieur, the mirror is there, in the middle of the restaurant. There is only one seat from which you could have seen the image of the victim. And where would that be? Oh la la! Look how you lean towards me. I am always attracted to young little boys. Maybe I'll just keep the suspense a little longer.
Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once.
I talk to the ones too, you know. And shall I tease you too?
I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. I bet she has a mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume.
Bien, I will tell you. There is only one seat from which you could have seen. That was the seat at the table next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting.
So why can you only see the victim for this particular seat?
Nice, monsieur. It is obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. If you were sitting at a table like next to him, you would see everything, no? So that's the seat old Seedy was sitting on that day. When the poisoning happened. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does that seem kinda odd? After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so as not to be in the way.
Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police?
Oui, exactamente. I carried this out of the restaurant then.
You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself?
What can I say? I know how to pick things up and handle. Kudo actually laughed at something.
Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else at the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong?
That looks the obliging type, no? But not today. I did not touch anything else.
Oh. Are you sure about that?
I touched nothing else except the mirror.
Mr. Wright, is there something the witness had said there that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on it. What exactly? Suffering from a case of heartburn, Wright?
Oh, I was just listening for that. The oil of the golden mirror of Frankenstein's.
Add a few drops to your coffee and voila. Enjoy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. You need to ignore those two just to find some evidence.
It's pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Seedy.
And the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Trebian that day. I've just gotta prove it, somehow. Well, I can't misprove that. I can prove that he was lying. You took nothing else in the restaurant that day. Then what is this here? Witness' statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor. I'm sorry, but I can see nothing faulty. Unfortunately, I will have to penalize you, Mr. Wright. I must be on the wrong track. Oh. That's the one. I pointed out the wrong thing. There we go. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we've heard, Your Honor. Specifically, this piece of evidence. This piece of testimony. The crime photo. Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Sounds like you're describing yourself, Tried. One more quip out of you. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is something that should not exist in the photo? Oh, well, this should not exist. I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in this picture. The vase? What possible connection does that have with the witness' testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should be no vase in this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. There is one thing that was clearly demonstrated in yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase at the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all!
Objection!
Don't be an idiot, Troy. That's impossible. The seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from.
Exactly!
There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror at Trabian that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, was an elaborate lie.
Objection!
Don't try to confuse the court, Wright. Obviously the witness cleaned up the face, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene.
What?
Unfortunately, Mr. Cadeau, that doesn't quite work with me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I didn't touch anything else except the mirror. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? That's right. There was no mirror in that restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we even turned back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in his ear when he couldn't hear? You only get one shot in life. No turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, try it. This problem is all yours. How do you explain that the old man saw?
Answer this. I'm not that much closer to the truth. Feel it. You gonna be okay? You really saw this contradiction?
It's more than just one contradiction, Maya. Remember what Maggie told us. There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD in the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all these contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. All these contradictions did not add up. Would it be Mr. Kudo made a mistake? The victim couldn't have been phony, could it? He saw those specs. That was the real victim. The ear doctor in no way made a mistake. There. Because you can't just make a mistake like that. Oh, this is it. Let's go with this then. Clearly, Mr. Kudo made a mistake. Mr. Troy, you're the one who brought up all these contradictions. And if you're trying to tell us that old man just made a mistake, we can wrap up the case now with a guilty verdict. How about it, Mr. Wright? Did I just declare your client guilty?
How's he come up with Nick?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was the one who made a mistake. Give you one more chance, Mr. Wright. Think carefully before you answer this time. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all its contradictions is simple. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike his victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing his earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Order of the court! Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom! Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear it? Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trite. Are you saying that what Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of clearing a witness out of the one Mr. Kudo. of the express purpose of clearing a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Creating. They did.
Get real, Wright. Why would anyone want to do that?
Isn't it obvious?
The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about his testimony was... It was serving girl, but Miss Giovacchino. She put something into it. It's the serving girl right there in the defense chair. I remember it well. It's so hard to believe, but... There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Objection! Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story is a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. You would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was at the scene of this such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct?
Oh la la. This is the most difficult for me.
No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Trabian that day? The defense demands Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defense requests for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. In the restaurants.
The victim, Monsieur Elk, he came to the restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There was no other customers. When he got word that he won the lottery, Elk became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for the phony to do the acting.
Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in that restaurant after all.
The one demand party. Forgive me, my own honor. I lied because I wanted this to be cleared up quickly.
What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. You took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. It's right there.
The victim, Monsieur Elk, he came to the restaurant alone.
Really?
Was he alone at his table as well? Mazon, wait, I saw him in the kitchen.
Yeah, the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table. Objection! Huh. Unfortunately for you, Wright, yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. Oh. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. You mind say it? You say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. Huh.
I remember the old man arrived not long after him.
By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct?
Wait, it comes often from my special coffee.
I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience.
Oh, you make me so happy, Monsieur. You're the most welcome anytime.
I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more. So Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as her victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. What time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived?
Oh no, I cannot remember, Monsieur.
I believe we are told by the witness yesterday. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. It's kind of scary, old man. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10, no?
Huh. Just after 2, huh?
Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, Monsieur. You have a different...
I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? Time of the day would be added to the witness's testimony.
Oui, Monsieur Judge. Everything I do it for you.
Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Well, at least one person's in a good mood.
He's even humming a song to himself. I remember the old man arriving not long after him, just after 2 p.m.
Are you absolutely sure about that time?
When I think really, I am sure it was just after 2, eh? It was the time I stopped serving on the lunch menu.
Quite right. I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up in a case early just to make it on time. I guess you should never get between a hungry judge at his lunch. Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already. Witness, get on with your testimony, please.
There is no other customers.
So your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim. How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Troit? You'd never catch me drinking the same blend twice. Huh? You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in a restaurant, but you're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed to make coffee, if you catch my drift.
But there's a hole in his testimony somewhere, I'm sure of it. When they got rid of him on the lottery moon, Alec became very excited.
So did you see him?
No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, "Yes, $500,000!"
Presumably, the defendant heard that too, then, correct?
Maggie? She looked like supposedly frightened love.
And what about Mr. Kudo?
The old man choked on some bird seeds that got stuck in his throat.
It seems we now have yet another incident on our hands.
It was approximately 5 minutes after lead poisoning the incident occurred.
And what were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill.
I am the multi-talented woman, monsieur.
Sorry, what do you mean?
There is a renowned chef, Jean Armstrong, that tried to poet Clarice Armstrong.
Clarice?
Wait, I was writing a poem. An angry tale of a chef with $500,000 in debt, cooking for a man who won $500,000 in the lottery. It is called Pourquoi. It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for like God?
Please don't.
No, there was no time for the phony to be doing the acting.
You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred?
I asked the old man to call for the payphone.
By your own argument, Trite. The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so the old man could see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear. Indeed.
Bien, it seems the shadow of the doubt has been lifted. N'est-ce pas? I guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh?
Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elk, and I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time, after all.
But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too?
She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember?
Ah, you mean that's when the phony staged his act?
We'll know for sure once we find a hole in his testimony. Okay, so he came to the restaurant alone. Remember the old man arriving around just after him? After 2. Just after 2. Are you kidding me? Let's be sure. Are you even serious? Objection! I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong.
What? What do you mean?
At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio in his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning number of $500,000 lottery ticket.
Wait, that was the show the one Alec was listening to.
I can't see any problem with his testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder... You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct?
Wait. I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I remember it's that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu.
Get to the point, Trite. If you have one. That show was broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30? Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it is announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy would have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! This victim had been told has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to a radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching the show that has already been over, there's one conclusion you can draw from these facts. The victim was an imposter acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elks at Très Bien that day. The real Glen Elk, now dead, had been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elk acting out the events of Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if it wasn't the case, how could you explain this time discrepancy? Quite a performance, Wright. You're almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song.
What is this? Music Theory 101?
Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it is now just after 2 p.m. The phony Glen Elk will perform a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then what the real Glen Elk is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glen Elk was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion. Thank you, Wright. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to?
The missing corpse?
According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. That was the other customer was the phony Glen Elk. Then where did the killer hide the body for the real victim?
I don't know. I mean...
The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. Your theory is to stand up to examination by the court. You must provide us with proof by answering your prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
Yes, Your Honor.
No conjecture, Wright. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden.
Evidence? What's with the intense pressure here all of a sudden? I thought I had him with the contradiction. But he's turned all around and backed me in a corner instead. I'm the one that's supposed to do that.
Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Glen Elk? Concealed. Okay. There's only one place it could be. Inside Très Bien.
It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Très Bien.
Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside the restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court with these plans, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Très Bien is... here. The body was hidden here.
I see. Nice supposition, but the real question is, can you back it up? Where are the evidence that proves the body was hidden in this location?
Here's where we have a problem. How can I prove that? Now here's the trap. I can't prove that.
I've ran myself into a trap, you see. Although, I do have evidence. This isn't exactly the evidence that proves the body was hidden there, but this is the fact that he took him, and he took something from him. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle?
No. I have never seen the ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottle before. This is the highest quality, only for me.
Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright?
Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Trabian. Eh? What? But I have only used these bottles when I aromatherapy oils.
But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Glenelg visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match the description that was given to Mr. Elg. Glenn Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time his bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hit the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend your client, Maggie Bird. My client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
No!
Oh, order! Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elk?
Never! I could not do such an horrible thing.
No! No! Mr. Godot? The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. Yeah, he plays his own drinking game. I do too. Whenever there's a mini breakdown, I just take a sip like this. Refreshing. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? And I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend?
The ones at the Monday party. You must hear me out. It's a trap. Listen to me. Por favor.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it?
No. Absolutely no.
Let's hear it. You've got one shot, right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you, as does my gavel.
Hopefully, it is clear. Did I always say in the movies? Got a bad feeling about this?
Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
The confession. It is true. I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there is a reason why I could not confuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me.
You were forced? By who?
I cannot say. I'll be erased.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elg died, was he really the only person at his table?
There was... There was another man.
I knew it.
Maggie was telling the truth.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. It's true, Lolo. I hid the body in the kitchen.
Did you carry the body by yourself?
I carried him, and I carried Maggie too.
Maggie too?
When she was the only victim collapsed, she fainted. I could not leave her there.
But why did you hide the bodies?
A man forced me to do it. I had no choice.
What man? Who is he?
No, I gotta say, I feel for my life.
He's really scared.
You'll just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick.
Yeah, you're right. If you won't tell me, I'll tell him. But why would you go along with this man?
I had to go along with it because there was a reason why I could not refuse.
And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong?
You know, monsieur.
Yes?
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment.
A maiden? Bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. Yeah, I can't finish this cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I just have to prove it with evidence.
But I did not kill him. I swear. You must believe me.
You already confessed this much. Might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is.
And sock it to him, Nick.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Let's see. I'm just gonna cross-examine this one. So, you're claiming that all you did was hide the bodies. Is that correct?
That's right.
And if we are to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear the identity of the man who would order this.
He's ready to he's already confessed this much.
You must stop dancing around the issue. Well, fine. If you're not gonna say who, then I'll tell you. It's Tigre. Let's end this dance of Ring Around the Rosie, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man that you've been referring to. Who is that? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, I don't know. Maybe a month ago in this very own courtroom? This man is Furio Tigre. He's the manager of a loan office called Tender Lender. There's no point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. I know you couldn't go against Mr. Tigre, at least not while he had this on you. $500,000 loan from the black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Wait, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong, the tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demands that he will pay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the conscious Maggie out his dining area and into that kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget about what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket were recovered from the defense apron pocket. Was that your doing as well?
No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was the Mackie who had done it. I was not. It was despicable.
Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I will doubt that can be arranged today, so I will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. 30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more.
How the?
Don't sit back and relax yet, Wright. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial can still go either way. Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, the court is adjourned for 30-minute recess. All the truth has been brought to light. Also, I have almost completely drained my meter. It's almost completely drained. If I get one more question wrong during the next cross-examination, I'm done. Oh dear. Well, this is Let's Play Phoenix Wright. It's a turn, trials and tribulations. See you next time where we finally take down the tiger. See ya.